We're going to now hop across, or we're going south actually, but certainly to Rio and Daniel. Hey, Daniel. Okay, here we go. Daniel, great to see you. Thanks for jumping in, and over to you, mate.
Great, James. Thanks for having us. This is a great, such a cool event to hear what everyone else also has to say about their own journeys. And thanks for this space. So everyone, hi, I'm Daniel. I'm Daniel Escudeiro, or Daniel Escudeiro, or depending on where you are, how you pronounce it. There's nothing too hard here in terms of pronunciation. It's really just the origin of the name. So I say Escudeiro here. So, anyways, I'm a graphic designer and a creative director from Brazil. Right now, I'm in the middle of the event, which is ATPI, which is a typography event here. And you guys probably know my name or my work more from the current screen, the splash screen from Adobe Illustrator, which I designed. It was really published. I think in the beginning of this year. I forget when it became live, but I think it was around March or something. So it's Adobe is really doing these screens. They're going to last a little less longer than they usually do. So it'll probably be from online for around 4 months or so 5 months or so. Some of you also may know my work from the 36 Days of Type series from last year, which really was the thing that started this whole kind of personal style that really wasn't even a personal style up until the event that was the 36 Days of Type, and also of course led to directly to the Illustrator screen. So, but just moving back a little before all that happened, I want to kind of trace some of the origins of a lot of the work that I do nowadays to a very relevant project to me, which was this late 2018. I was working in an agency, in Tacho Agency, which is an agency based in Rio, who also did the design for the Rio Olympic Games. And we came across this project, which was to develop a brand for this guy here, the artist that was Roberto Burle Marx, who was a very prominent, very important Brazilian modern landscape architect. So his main core of work was designing gardens and landscape architecture for very large spaces, like huge public areas and parks, and he worked all over the world. Here he is with Le Corbusier in 1962. And the thing about the work of Roberto Burle Marx is that it was absurdly vast and complex, and he worked in so many different mediums, from painting to sculpture to, of course, the gardens and the design of the spaces and the actual 3D space design and with the biology, with the plants and the gardens themselves. And it was an incredibly kind of complex project to just even get started on. Like, this guy is a very relevant modern Brazilian artist, and I wanted to make sure that we did justice to the complexity and to the specialness of that guy's work. And that also talking about origins. I mean, many spaces that Roberto Burle Marx designed are actually based in Rio de Janeiro, which is the city that I live in. I was born in a neighbor city of Niterói, but I live in Rio I've lived here for many years now. And this is the spaces that he designed are spaces that I and many people from my city actually use and actually, walk around. We cross these places, we exist in these places. So for some kind of very happy coincidence, I felt very much personally connected with this guy's body of work, really, and not just the aesthetics, which also had me connected with him very much with the kind of solutions, the kind of curves, the kind of traces that he did, but also the very fact that he had designed many of the public spaces that I actually interacted with. This is the campus of the university that I studied design, which was his project of landscape architecture as well. Not the actual building architecture, but the landscape, the entire landscape around it. So it was a very fortunate project that I took very personally, and I'm really glad I did, because that led me to really dive into this guy's body of work, and trying to understand how to make it work in a logo, in a typography. So what happened here is that all of this led to the conclusion of the design of this logo and the design of this custom typography, this custom typeface, which also kind of reflected other personal references that I had, like so many letter set fonts and typography, and the kind of the resources that you would expect to find in them, like so many ligatures. But it also worked so well with the project. So the reason I'm talking about this before talking about the 3D stuff for Illustrator is that this really had kind of a lasting impact on me in terms of really, studying and analyzing a very specific aesthetic of the Brazilian modernist movement that this guy was very much a part of. And then come to 36 Days of Type. This is the project that I did for the 2021 edition, which I had a lot of fun doing, and it was mostly 2D, mostly motion. And for 2022, I really was kind of all over the place. I didn't really have just one core direction I wanted to take it. I had many different possible explorations, like this one, which kind of reminds us a little bit of the Burle Marx typeface as well. Some things with animals with faces and whatnot. So this was really kind of all over the place a bit. And I saw a post by the design superhero Nubia Navarro, or Nubikini in her Instagram, which she showed really quickly how to do something with the Illustrator Inflate tool, which was something quite new. It had just come out by then, February 14, and I loved it. And I was like, wow, you can, what? This is in Illustrator, which is a question I get all the time up until today. And I really wanted to try something. And then that was just barely 3 weeks before the posting date of the 36 Days of Type. So I just started, experimenting with it, which also looked like something else entirely from the same kind of movement period that Roberto Burle Marx was in, which was Oscar Niemeyer architectural work. This is a museum in the city, which is my actual hometown city. And the kind of the spaceness, the kind of volume and specialness that that guy's work inherently has, also kind of was present here when I was experimenting these very, very pure, very simple ways of bringing, the 3D to these letters. And I remember this letter specifically, the letter P, was really kind of a turning point, because it kind of became a huge hit, kind of viralized in a way. It had like over 21,000 likes, and the reach was absurd. Lots of people started following me after this post, and it was very crazy, because then it kind of led to this whole inflated letters thing that I've kind of become known for, which was really funny, because I mean that was never kind of the main intention, to just inflate letters and have an inflated letter body of work. but that kind of happened. So this is, for example, this is not inflated at all, although maybe it kind of looks like it was, but it was just rotated. And it's just something else entirely. And the entire series was an incredibly ridiculously fun, playground to just play around with this and kind of explore all of the different ways that you could do, which kind of when I look at it today, I can see the resemblance of the presence of all of the work, all of the research that went into designing the Burle Marx typography. And then James, and we're over our time, right? I'll just skip over these really quick just to get to the Adobe splash screen, just to say that this was such a direct, result from all of those fun, experiments that wasn't even a commercial project at all. 36 Days of Type is just an open call on Instagram. And it was, I'm incredibly happy and honored that project had such an impact that it led to Instagram to Adobe just reaching out directly to me to really ask for an artwork, a specific letter artwork, not a specific letter, a random letter artwork to feature on their splash screen, just to showcase the possibilities of the 3D that they were developing and that they had just launched, and so many people didn't know what could be done with it. Well, that's it. I did have a few more things still, but I just see the time. We're a little over it. So sorry for the going over the time. And thanks, James. I guess this was what I wanted to do here, was just kind of show some of the origins of some very specific Brazilian styles and Brazilianness that I feel are present in my work in ways that are very, very subjective and very kind of hidden back there somewhere.
Daniel, this is
I'm being kicked out of here as well.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We always go over time because the work from everybody is so rich, and we could make this 2 hours. But Daniel, I think, just a couple of observations of you taking inspiration from public buildings, crossing the road and the designs in the sidewalk or the pavement, and that then you pull that through into your sort of more graphic, typographic thinking. And the new public space. I mean, as designers, everybody would love their work in Times Square, Piccadilly Circus, somewhere like, iconic. But you've managed to achieve, into a space that we open every day in Illustrator, which is kind of the new Times Square in a way. So congratulations on that piece of work. Do you have, from a form factor, one question, do you have a favorite letter form from your 36 Days of Type? Just through its kind of shape and construct, or tell us if you have a favorite.
Like a favorite letter from the series?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a super hard. I also like so many people who made them viral. I quite like the ones that have the appearance of an arm floating, of the floating thing. So those are actually 3 letters that I did that with, which are the P, the 5, and the X. So maybe I would choose one of them as my favorite, but not sure which one. I do quite like most of them, so I'm very fond of. It's funny when I see it again now. I can see like my progress in kind of learning better how to use the tool as the letters were being posted, because I was really just learning them. So if I look at letter A, for example, that's probably the worst in terms of the quality of the lighting or some other things there. And maybe letter 9 would be the number 9 would be the better one.
Brilliant. Well, I'm just going to share and close this little show out. Thank you again. Thank you to Kimya, Shanani, Luke, and Daniel. And I'm going to send you guys this, but thank you to everybody who's been putting comments in the chat. I've been kind of frantically screen grabbing, and it's just so great when we meet new friends, we hang out together, we share stories around our kind of where we came from, what inspired us. and in each case you can see everybody's handle there, and we'll publish those. So a kind of a double thank you to our four kind of musketeers for coming in and sharing everything that they've done today, and then to everybody for commenting and allowing us to, because without our audience, you know, this show wouldn't be even possible as well. So to everyone around the world, we've kept you a little bit longer. I'm just going to finally close that. If anybody's interested in receiving information on our design week, maybe it's 2 days of sessions, both from a sort of an educational and inspirational, hopefully memorable and unforgettable, but this idea of being able to sit in a session that might help us all in some way, then do reach out to us. So ultimately, I'm going to close down now. I'm going to thank everybody, wherever you may be. My in-laws just arrived, so I'm going to go for a cup of tea. But if you're in the part of the world and you want a G&T, well, and just enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll hopefully see you in a month's time or less with another session. So thanks again to everybody, and stay safe.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, James.
Thanks,
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.